Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
And so that's what I was thinking about. Rather sure. Anyway, speaking of bats in the corner, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yes, I do. Okay. I do, Lou.
Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentleman Fan Film Reviews. I am Sid Part 2, a.k.a. Ian Harrington. Joining me today is The Real Manos, a.k.a. Justin Cristelli.
Hello. How you doing, guys?
I think they're all doing well.
That's
of them.
Good. I'm glad to hear about you.
Yeah.
I'm glad that one thing is going well for you, listening to this in Illinois.
Okay. On that note, what fan film are we reviewing today, Manos?
I chose Batgirl, Friday night in Gotham City.
Yay!
Woohoo!
It's funny watching this because there's a number of things I can talk about with it, but the very first thing that comes to mind to me is I want the people that made this, if they're watching it, to go look up the fan film Harley by Jabroni Pictures, which we've also reviewed on this show, and you guys got to call each other, somehow get in contact, and make a fan film crossover together. Because
fan film crossover!
Yeah, well, alright, so Harley by Jabroni Pictures, and like I said, we did an episode on that one, is basically the exact same thing, where it is a very short film that's essentially just an excuse to show off really, really good fight choreography with the superhero characters so it gets some attention. And that's exactly what this is. It's a short film with Batgirl in the lead that gets a chance to show off cool fight choreography, has a couple, haha lines here and there, and just looks really, really professional.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you pick this just because you like Batgirl, then?
Yes, I wanted a Batgirl. I know there was a few Batgirl fan films out there. I was specifically looking for a Cassandra Cain one, because I believe there was one made, but I found this one while looking for that, and I kind of dug what I saw, so I decided to go with this.
Yeah, this works for me. This has a lot of the feeling of just the kind of things you read in comics as, this is what happens before the actual story gets started, or this is just, the way a little short story goes, in the back page, as backup for an issue or something.
Yeah. Or perhaps, since we're talking this is happening in the background of apparently a confrontation between Two-Face, the Royal Flush Gang, and Batman, this is something that they're kind of creating a distraction for, and Barbara Gordon is jumping right to it. Mm-hmm. So this is something you're right, could be a backup in an issue, or maybe a tie-in, one of Scott Snyder's big-ass event books and his Batman books, and then this would be going on in the Batgirl comic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could totally see that. And so it has a very comic book style feel. I love the voice for Barbara Gordon, as little as she says. It's still really fun. The costuming looks really, really good too. I was quite pleased with the costume in this one.
I would agree. I guess my only nitpick is maybe the yellow trim on the back of the cape. Where her head is. I'm not sure why that just didn't look right to me. But everything else, like the boots, the belt, what we got to see of the insignia and the chest, I really loved. It was a really good-looking costume.
I agree. I thought it was a really fun look. It's particularly impressive because it looks like something straight out of the comics in a lot of ways. but they managed to have her do a lot of really physical stuff. You know, obviously the thing Nolan kind of pointed out that a lot of people didn't think of for the longest time is all the Batman characters can't turn their frickin' head because of the cowl. And yet she's got a full cowl on and everything, but it's not connected to the shoulders, so she's able to do that head turning motion, and it's just a very comic book accurate kind of costume that she's doing a lot of physical stunt work in, and it looks really, really cool. It looks like it's, again, straight off the page, and that makes it really enjoyable. It
does. It particularly reminded me most of the New 52 costume that Barbara had, just before she got the current one, which, by the way, is my favorite Batgirl costume, is the current one. But I really dug the New 52 ones as well. I thought that was a pretty good suit. And this looks a lot like that suit.
See, now you got me curious because I'm not reading Batgirl, so I just want to real quick Google what the Batgirl Rebirth costume...
It's pretty much the same costume she's had for the last couple of years.
Okay.
All right. Remember after like a couple of years they changed her costume?
And it's got kind of like that purplish hue to it now and stuff.
Yeah, and the sort of like Doc Marten boots and stuff like that.
I
love that costume.
That's all right for me. I still love the Cassandra Cain one the most. That's always been my favorite Batgirl costume. It looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, that would be my second favorite costume. Oh, I think that is just, gorgeous. Let's talk about the film. Because I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I've watched it a couple times. And, you're right. This film is so tight. Mm-hmm. We already talked about a little bit about the fight choreography, which looks really good. The costuming is great. The way it's shot looks lovely. It looks at least on par with like a professional budgeted like TV show.
Yeah, I'd say this looks like it would fit perfectly in the Arrow universe kind of thing. Like it would. That series has some pretty good fight choreography, and this really fit in with it, you know. And you know, if you watch the credits, you can see that. And forgive me because I can't remember the name of the stunt company, but they credit a stunt crew, and so. You can just tell that like these are professionals. They really choreographed it, and there's a lot of fan films where like it's
we've seen them.
Yeah, it's two teenagers standing in their backyard. You can see like the chain link fence and the doghouse, and they're just like really poorly, really slow choreography, and it doesn't look good. This looks professional, and it's really good. And like everything about it looks professional. The film quality, the way it's cut and edited. One thing that I love it to death because it works so perfectly and yet it is so incredibly easy. And that's the location. It's just in a warehouse.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it's actually a warehouse. There's like a forklift. You can see some pallets that have been partially wrapped. And like then there's that cool like nitrogen tank thing there. I'm like, I don't know what that's for, but it looks great. This is just good location scouting, and it's probably just where one of the guys works, and they got permission to come in and do it, and that's just awesome.
I agree. The acting, I think, was on par. I only caught the name of the actress playing Barbara Gordon. Heather Wake was really good, really strong. I also liked all the actors. I like the actor who played Cy, the villain, who apparently is like a lieutenant of Two-Face or something like that.
Was that what he was supposed to be? Because I could have sworn... I guess I didn't catch Two-Face. I thought I heard I thought I heard like Mask or something.
He said Face. So it's either
okay.
It's either Two-Face or One-Face.
Or Clayface.
Or Clayface, who's not a really like mobby guy.
Yeah, that's
so... my assumption was Two-Face. So, sometimes people call Two-Face Face. So that was my assumption. But yeah, I loved he had a really cool, simple but striking look, with like the facial hair and the eyebrows that were all jutted and pointy.
He gets so few lines and he does so much with it.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of really good like physical facial expression acting.
Yeah, and he's so strong with it. Like, he's quite good. And, his suit looks good. He looks like a character. He's one of those kind of like comic book characters that, yeah, it's an ordinary mob guy, but he has a specific look, so you can identify him and see him again.
Yeah, and like we had a lot of those characters kind of show up in the late 80s and 90s, like Bob from Batman 89. He even got his own action figure. You had Umbutu from Batman the Animated Series. He had his whole like caricature and everything. And then, like, some of them even stuck around. Ubuntu actually stuck around for a little bit. And then, like, Mercy, Lex Luthor's chauffeur / bodyguard, she stuck around for a little while. And then, of course, there's the biggest one of those that stuck around is Harley Quinn. But, like, man, this guy he feels like one of those characters. Like, he's got a very distinct look, and the actor just does so much with so little. Like, they did not give him a big soliloquy or anything. He just has some like scary ass facial expressions, and it works.
And his dialogue is really good. I like that line about I don't want to be the guy whose mother is going to get a call on Sunday morning that their son's dead. It's like, man, that's pretty. It's pretty solid writing. I really like that.
There's that, and I really like the guy. I like his introduction the first time we hear him speak, when like the guys are moving stuff, and the one goes, what is this? And he just comes in, expensive. Like, that's like some Tarantino level dialogue kind of stuff. I could see that in a Tarantino movie. And I don't know, maybe that's being a little too generous, but I really dug it. Let me just put it that way.
And one of my favorite lines comes from one of those nameless thugs when Barbara's beating them up, and a couple of them are limping away, and one who apparently has a bit better fight experience, getting ready. And he's limping by him and goes, hey, good luck. I love it when henchmen get humanized, and that was really cool.
Yeah, Bruce Timm did a lot of that back with the animated series. Like, I remember there's an episode of Superman the Animated Series where, like, two henchmen are just driving a truck, and one's like, my broker tells me that this is a really hot deal. It's like, oh, if your broker tells you, then everybody knows. And I'm just like, yeah, of course henchmen have stock plans. Why wouldn't they?
There's this cool episode in Batman the Animated Series where two thugs are disposing of Robin, who they think is dead, and they're going to throw him over a bridge. And one of them's talking about like how polluted the stream is. And it's like, oh man, it's a damn shame. All that, people, all that crap people are dumping in the ocean.
He's about to throw a body in there.
Yeah, well, that's different.
No, that's funny.
I love that. I love that kind of dialogue. I love that kind of shit.
Me too.
And Barbara's quite good. Like, I really enjoyed that line where she takes a look at the girl she's rescuing, and she thinks to herself in narration, like, oh, say something cool and inspiring. And she says, don't do drugs. And it's like, and she immediately goes, nailed it. I really enjoyed that.
The only thing that could have made that better is if she said, don't do drugs, and instead of going back to her head, she said quietly to herself, nailed it. Like, that just would have worked so much better for me.
Well, there was another moment when I watched it the second time that made me laugh, where she says it again to the girl when she's giving her Gordon's number and she's leaving her, where she says it one more time, and she gives her a smile back as if to say, thanks for saving my life, but I'm not doing drugs. It's really very subtle.
That's really good. And I like the way that she acts in that scene. She's so, like, just casual and really comes off as very genuinely friendly. And I like that kind of attitude of writing the Bat family as opposed to Batman, because my idea of Batman is that he is a very introverted personality, and I kind of get that from the comics. Like, I always talk about this one scene, but it amazes me to no end how perfectly this is written, because Dick is talking to Batman about his relationship with Barbara, and he's like, so yeah, I think we're going to get back together. Batman's just not reacting the whole time, just doing his detective work or whatever. And Dick goes, just thought you'd like to know. Pat looks up at him and goes, noted. And then goes right back to doing what he's doing. And so he's just like this completely unapproachable person. And I kind of go back to Darwin Cook as the reason that he gets these very extroverted people to be part of the Bat family. I go to Darwin Cook's Justice League New Frontier, where in the beginning of that book, Batman tries to save a kid, but the kid's scared of him because he's frickin' Batman and he looks like a giant bat monster, and so he tries to run away. And so, like, the next time we see Batman, though, he's got Robin with him, and Superman asks him, "Working with kids? I'm into this to scare criminals, not children. He's here to help with that." And I'm like, that's a really, really good way of looking at it. Like, the reason that Batman gets these really cheery, bright people is so that though the people who might be scared of him don't have a reason to run away. I really like that. And so that's a lot that I'm not really sure how aware this fan film is that it's capitalizing on, but it really, really works, and it feels like it's picking up on those ideas.
That's a good example of how Heather Wake and the writer and director of the film, I didn't catch his name. Did you? What was his name?
I'm sorry. We're such bad reviewers, Manos.
We're bad. What? Hey, I got one name.
I think it's Christopher Sheffield. Sheffield.
Yeah.
Sorry if I fucked that up.
That one little bit where, she's on her cell phone and she's leaning in and she's talking to her, that shows they have an understanding of who Barbara Gordon is. And, it's just simple little, like, ticks like that, I think, really work for it.
Yeah, there's so much you can get away with just the smallest stuff in a fan film. Like, it just, all you need is for the smallest thing to feel genuine, and the whole thing can kind of, like, come together perfectly.
Because you don't really have to do anything overtly complicated. Because there's really nothing complicated about this. It's like a girl is kidnapped, Barbara Gordon beats up the kidnappers and sets her free and goes on. And there's so much stuff they do with that that makes this stand out. And, we see quite a bit of character from Barbara and the bad guys and even the kidnapped victim. I don't know. It's just really... This was a tight 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a really, really well-made, proper film. I was going through the guy's channel, and he's been on YouTube for a number of years just making stuff, all basically short films. He has a series called Split Lip that's like a feature-length film, I think, once it's all put together. And I'm interested to watch that because he seems to not only have a really good understanding of filmmaking, because I saw he was doing like tutorial videos and advice videos for other filmmakers, but he's got a really good sense of filmmaking, and he's got a really, really good sense of just how to communicate action well, I feel. Because if this is any indication of a series called Split Lip, I am really interested to watch that, because there's like a lot of short films and student films are like really fucking artsy. And I get it. You're young, you gotta experiment with like the really weird, trippy shit, but God, some of that stuff's just unwatchable. Whereas action scenes are always cool. Like, all you have to do is do an action scene somewhat competently, and it's always fun. Like, it's not everything's gonna blow you away, but an action scene in and of itself is always cool. And so once you can do that, it's an underappreciated skill, because it gets used in a lot of dumb movies and stuff, and it's looked down on as being low art, but it's much more complicated than you think.
I mean, all you have to do is just see a badly choreographed action scene, and you know what talent goes into the good one.
Yeah, Kirk versus the Gorg, or whatever it was called. The big lizard man, that's like infamously horrible. That's a bad fight scene.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, there's a lot to just the... it's funny, when we talk about a lot of these fan films, we get really into the story, because I feel like ultimately, if you can't get a story right, it's really hard to talk about your film on any other level before we even talk about production, no matter how good the production quality is. This has a really basic story. It knows the story it wants to tell. It has good handling of the characters. But what's really elevating for me is it feels so professional. So I'm going to say this, but I actually hope they don't do it. I would love to see more of this. When did this fan film come out?
This isn't that old.
Oh yeah, just last year, the end of last year, December. I would love to see more of this, but the only reason I say I don't actually want that to happen is because I know and I feel like this team, the director, writer, the stunt actors and everything, I feel like they are destined for bigger things. So I'd love to see more of it. I just don't think I'm going to get it, so I'm not going to put too much of a emphasis on that.
I would agree with that. I didn't want them to get to the point where they're like, wasting their time, where their talents would be better used elsewhere.
Yeah. But like this would be like just especially the name Another Friday Night in Gotham. Like that could be a really cool way to structure a story, like a really detective heavy overarching story with just a bunch of cool like hunting down leads and fights in between kind of thing. Of just like it's 5 Fridays or something for her to figure out this mystery. That could be really cool. I don't know. It's very, very tempting idea, but again, I think that these guys really know what they're doing, and so it's just going to be one of those things where they kind of take off and go professional, like, working in proper studio films and stuff before too long. But hey, don't forget your roots. Fan films rule. Give us proper, give us what we deserve on screen from the big studio superheroes. All right, so we've been really, really positive on this, but we do have to fill some more time, so I don't care how nitpicky it is, let's talk negatives.
Okay.
All right, you go first, because, yeah.
Well, I already mentioned that little strip of yellow on the back of her cape, so good Lord, how terrible! 0 out of 5. Ruined the movie for me.
Yeah. For me, the thing that, like, I just kind of like took it and ran with it, and I didn't really care that much, but I did think it was a little odd, is I do not understand for what purpose the hench guy took the dude's girl. Like, it just seems like he's so into this whole idea of, I don't want to be the one to get killed if this plan goes awry. Let me just take this random, bystander for apparently no related reason whatsoever.
I suppose, to be honest, maybe if that was made a little bit more clear. Like, when I first watched this, I thought she was just another victim in a sex trafficking ring. Mm-hmm. But on the second viewing, I feel like maybe she was a specific kidnap target.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, like she says, I didn't even want to come here. So I get the feeling that the dude brought her as like,
well, he coerced her, yeah.
Yeah, like as some kind of level of protection because he was worried about getting killed, so he wanted someone else with him. So that could make some sense, but like, why the dude takes her when clearly the product that they're trafficking is not human. Right? Yeah. That was just that was just obvious by the way they're carrying boxes and stuff. Like, whatever they are supposed to be taking, and I honestly don't think that they thought through what it was. They like the idea that it's just random substance that we can say is expensive, as opposed to really thinking it through and connecting it all together.
Yeah, it would have been nice if maybe there was a line about, clearing, all that up. But, to be honest, I didn't really even need it. It's almost like a MacGuffin plot, where it's like, it kind of doesn't matter what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
So we can go through this scenario.
Exactly. That character is a plot device, and not that like she's, it's not egregious because like we talked for 20 minutes about how awesome this film is before we could even get to what is probably, in my mind, the only significant negative, and even then I still think it's so minuscule that if they wanted to make a longer film, they could have made it fit better, easily.
Yeah.
And
I would basically just throw that into, like, a nitpick. And nitpicks are different for me than severe criticisms.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't even call this enough of a problem to take off even half a point from my final score or anything like that. So
I would agree.
Other stuff. Did she use a weapon at any point? Did she, I'm trying to remember if she used like a batarang or something like that at some point.
I feel like she did.
Okay.
But it was like so quick, I didn't really notice it. She mostly beat them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did like that moment where she took the knife from him and like threw it away. I thought that was... Oh, no, it was a gun. I love that bit where she took the gun out of his hand and like unloaded it.
That was cool. Okay. My other like nitpick that maybe is a little more of a problem just on like movie logic kind of level is, so like she beats the shit out of all the henchmen, and then the big strong henchman comes in and all the others leave, and the guy that's going to solo challenge Batgirl. And so this nitpick is twofold. One, this guy sucks in a fight and is nowhere near like gets like any more chance against Batgirl than any of the other guys. Like he does he even land a punch, right? Like he goes down just as quick as all the others. And two, if he's going to go down just as quick as all the others, why didn't he just shoot her? Like, that was odd.
I get the sense that he's probably the best fighter in a group of regular guys.
Fair.
And probably didn't think he needed it.
Fair point.
That would be my guess. That's at least the way I took that. It's like, because they were like, oh man, Dave's here. Okay, cool. He's got it.
Yep, Dave's got this. Dave works out.
Dave actually goes to the gym and, works on his taekwondo.
Yeah.
So, we just kind of fight.
Mm-hmm. No, so like that was kind of weird, and I don't know, seeing that he goes down so quickly, especially since it's off screen, I wonder if they had a more elaborate fight scene possibly planned out, or maybe even so much as filmed, but something about it just didn't come together right in the editing process, so they decided to cut it. But that's just pure speculation on my part.
Maybe. I did read that Heather Wake was suffering from diarrhea, so they just decided to have her shoot him and then move on. Oh, shit. No, that's Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Never mind. Forget I said it.
Oh, Manos. All right. What else with this one? We need just a couple more minutes, but I can't really think of anything, so I think we're just going to go on to ratings. Why don't you go ahead and go first?
I thoroughly enjoyed this. It is my favorite CW show. I would watch Batgirl every Tuesday.
Every Friday. It's got to be
every Friday
night.
Oh, yeah, every
Friday night.
Get it? Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. No real complaints outside of a couple of tiny nitpicks. 5 out of 5 batarangs.
Batarangs. Sweet. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. Like, I pointed out some negatives, but again, all that is so, like, tons of movies do that, and it's such a small thing that I don't think it's even a problem, so it doesn't really hold a candle. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 out of 5 Batgirl cowls with room for her hair to come out. Oh, here's a question for you. Do you like the idea that she's got the naturally long red hair as opposed to like the short hair underneath the cowl kind of thing that I know they've done with Batgirl from time to time? And then like the long hair as a wig?
The long hair as a wig is always a neat idea. And that kind of originates, I think, maybe with the Yvonne Craig Batgirl. Where she had totally black hair short underneath. It's kind of cool because in a fight, like if somebody grabs that, they'll just pull a wig off or something like that.
Yeah.
And
like
Batwoman does.
Off more. Yeah, I like it. I think that's kind of just been taken over by Batwoman, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, like there's a lot of like goofy shit on costumes that like, in a real fight, that'd be the first you go for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I think it's in Justice League 1, Justice League Year 1. This is like now out of continuity, but there's a moment where there's a couple panels where Barry Allen Flash tells Black Canary that maybe she should reconsider her costume because fishnets aren't really logical in like a fight. And she goes, "Oh, really?" And she takes the little horn wings on his side of his mask and like twists his mask so he couldn't see. and he goes, "Okay, point taken."
Yep. Shut up, Barry Allen. Everyone likes to harp on Black... see what I did there? Ha. Everyone likes to harp on Black Canary's costume, but, there's a lot dumber costumes out there in the comic book world.
Oh, yes.
Not Shocker. Electro, worst costume ever.
Oh, man, Black Canary wouldn't even be in the top 100 of worst costumes.
Yep.
Not even. So, I mean, she has a great memorable costume. So,
Electric Superman.
Sexy Bomb Invisible Woman is one of my favorite examples of bad costumes.
I don't even think I know that one.
Oh, that's a bad one. That was mid-90s where she had...
of course it was the mid-90s. It had to be.
Yeah, where she had like a bunch of cutouts on her costume and like the 4 in her chest insignia was cut out so you could see some cleavage. And she had these like... Only the 90s would put like these cloth bands on your legs that aren't connected to anything. I don't... Like, what the fuck is that for?
I don't know. All right, sorry. We're getting very off track here. Anyway,
yes.
All right, that'll do it for Batgirl. Another Friday night. Another Friday night in Gotham. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so next week we are starting Geeky Gentleman Comedy Month, I believe. Yes, indeed we are. And so I actually chose to do an entire month on comedy because I wanted an excuse to talk about a couple of fan projects. And
great.
So this is the first one, and it's called The Three Stooges in Stupor Heroes, a Justice League / Stooges crossover fan film by the Chublin brothers. And I'm very excited to talk about this one. So that'll be fun. We'll do that next week. Until next time, everyone, thanks very much for watching. I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Realist.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.